How are you feeling, by the way?
For my vasectomy?
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. It was both way worse and way easier than I expected at the same time, if you could believe it.
Huh.
Yeah, it was a very weird, surreal experience. But they do it while you're awake. And that they don't even give you Valium or anything anymore. They numb the area with localized shots. Just in case anybody wants sympathy pains today, localized shots means they take your testicle and they take a big ass needle and they jam it full of fucking anesthetics. So that was really weird situation. They used to give you Valium. They don't anymore. I wish they did, because it was a very anxious thing. Honestly, the pain has been weird. I expected the cuts to be sore, but the actual incision marks are not sore at all. It's sore internally where they snipped the tubes. That's where it's sore. So basically what it feels like is somebody is just tugging on them constantly. Just slightly.
Coughs and sneezes. I'm sure
but it's not the worst. It's not like you've been kicked in the nuts. It's just like somebody's just pulling on them all the time. It's very strange, and they're swollen. They're huge. So it's been a weird experience. Weird experience, to say the least. Plus, the thing they give you to recover in, is a jock strap.
Yeah.
And it's a special jock strap. They're you need this over underwear, which you do. I realized that immediately. If your balls are dangling in any way, shape, or form, even in boxer briefs, it's not pleasant. So you need that jock strap to just hold everything up against your body. However, I got a special one with a little pocket in the front with a little ice pack that goes in there. Really nice. Really nice.
That's cute.
It is. However, fat guys, in jockstrap, I made a joke to my wife. I'm we didn't even need the vasectomy. I just needed to wear the jockstrap around afterwards, because no one's going to want to fuck me if they see me in that jockstrap. It's just it just makes all my skin and hair poke out at all the worst possible angles that it can. God. It's just the worst. It is the worst. Plus, I only got one, and everybody told me to get two, and I didn't, and that was stupid. But I only got one, so it smelled so bad after day 3 that I'm this. I gotta wash this, but that's a whole day without it, and it's just So I got it.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Oh, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. You, dear listener, have chosen for whatever reason to listen to another Horrible Gaming Podcast. I think I may be finally starting to get my voice back. It's still a little bit soft, but I think I sound a little bit normal.
85%, I would say at this point.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Fingers crossed. I can finally start doing work again. That being said, you are listening to the man that is usually with me, almost always.
Neil A.K., a tiny wizard.
No shortage of news today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about the Game Award nominations, and or as we like to call it, Keeley's Fuckfest 2022 edition.
I'm really glad, too, that this came out, because I feel like the past few podcasts have been what the fuck is there to talk about, at all? We're just, reaching for something.
I think we made it work.
We 100% made it work.
I think we talked probably a little bit too much about Sonic. I don't know that that's going to end today, but because I'm post-playing it. That it is a big part of the story that a lot of people are up in arms that it got snubbed by the Game Awards, which we're going to touch on. So yeah, but before we get into that, we gotta thank the people who helped us do this. Behind our ugly mugs, you're seeing a custom graphic that was supplied by Mr. Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then of course the theme song for this show and all shows here at Old Man Gaming are provided by the man who makes the music, my brother Nick Van Siders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back with Fan Interaction.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our most important segment, our first segment, that is Fan Interaction. But first, I've got to ask the question, Neil, did you listen to the last week's episode?
Yes, I did, and I want to preface now. I want to preface it with this, though.
Okay, preface away.
I want to preface it with
preface it up.
Kayla and I were just sitting there talking. She's like, "Hey, so have you listened to the podcast yet?" And I said, "No." Very much in such a way to maybe I'll get around to it eventually.
Oh, I knew it. I knew you might not.
She straight up said, she's like, "You need to listen to it."
Kayla saved your ass. Kayla saved your ass. Oh, you're lucky for her, man. I was sitting here. I'm like, I don't know. We're going to see.
I was driving to work listening to it, and then there was that point when Melissa said, like, "Oh, he's on the podcast. He has to listen to it." I actively went, in the car.
It's like, I'm the only one who listens to every one of these fucking episodes. All right. So, let's get into Fan Interaction. I do want to say something really quickly. If you are on the committee for the Horrible Game Awards, and you have not voted yet, you have until the 28th, but please get your nominations as soon as you can to me. And I just want to remind, a lot of people have come to me with, like, I don't have 3 for every category. I don't know what to nominate here. You can abstain from any category, from as many votes as you want to. 3 is the maximum you can nominate in a spot. But you don't even have to nominate any if you don't want to. I have to specifically ask you if that's all you want to nominate, and you have to specifically say yes, so that there's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no question as to whether, like, oh, well, I didn't vote here, I should have, or whatever.
Right.
So, like, but you feel free to abstain from any votes you want on the nominating side. I have already talked to 3 different people who are like, I don't know what to nominate here.
Yeah.
And I specifically told them, I'm saying it again, if you don't have something to nominate, don't nominate in that area. It's fine. At the very least, I have nominated 3 in every category. Neil has nominated plenty. We have other votes. We will get four nominations for each category. We will. We always do. We will. They may be good, they may be bad, we will. And I will say this, they'll probably be better than the Game Awards, which we'll talk about tonight.
Oh. I'll save it.
Save it. Yeah. Let's get into these comments. Number 1, Kayla, the woman who saved you. Hearing you talk about how there's no supply issues at game stores made me have war flashbacks. Maybe that's not the case for normal functioning game stores, but even pre-COVID and once shipped issues weren't a thing after COVID. Where I worked, we sometimes didn't even get enough copies of the game to cover the pre-orders. We had to call customers and explain the games they oftentimes had paid for in full, but were not here and had no clue when I would get in. Or they would tell us they are only shipping pre-order copies and nothing extra. Okay, so I want to say real quick, this has not been my experience. As far as my life has been in 41 years, anything I have pre-ordered or anything I have not pre-ordered, if I walk in on day 1, I get the game. I've never had anybody say we're out of copies if I go to a game store such as a GameStop or a CD Game Exchange. Now, that being said, I have heard these nightmare scenarios before. It really sucks. Like I said, it wasn't my experience. I could only speak from my experience last time, and I've never had this problem. I will say, though, the big reason we were mentioning that was the fact that pre-orders are bullshit, and the fact that you couldn't even get enough copies to have the pre-orders kind of doubles down on it. There's no point in pre-ordering. They're either going to have enough games for them, for the people, or they're not. You know what I mean? Like, it's that simple. So, like, I don't know. I still think pre-orders are bullshit. However, if somebody has had that experience, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to exclude anybody from that. It's just, like I said, my experience has been anytime I've walked in day one, I've gotten the game that I wanted. I never had to do a midnight release or anything like that. Just like I'd go there the next day and I'd be like, hey, I want X game. And they're like, here's a copy of X game. And I'm like, cool, bye. And like the only time I've ever gone to a store and they haven't had a game is Target, Walmart, retail, big retail places. I've had that a lot where I'll go in and it'll be like, oh, we don't have that. Because they only carry like 6 or 7 games at a time. And they don't have it. But anytime I walk into a GameStop or CD Game Exchange or something like that, I usually get the game. Like I said, though, this is... Obviously, there are horror stories out there of that stuff. I still don't think that we should be doing pre-orders. I think pre-orders are bullshit and a way for companies to kind of... I don't want to say extort money, but con money out of us early.
Yeah, I can't remember if I had mentioned it on the podcast when it came out, but that was actually weirdly the issue that I had with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Oh, yeah, you had mentioned that, actually.
I had gone in, I pre-ordered it. It was like a week and a half, 2 weeks in advance, something like that. Uh-huh. And it completely had paid for the game and everything up front. Full retail, everything's done. All I got to do is walk in there and grab it on release day. Made my way over there and spoke to somebody behind the counter, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, we don't have it. And I was like, I mean, I pre-ordered it. He was like, well, I don't know. Maybe you didn't pre-order it in time. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago.
It was prior to the game's release, motherfucker. Where's my game?
And then it's at that point, like, it turns into this weird thing. So either they only had enough copies of the game to cover pre-orders,
right,
or, you know, they just get an allotment based off of the pre-orders and hand them out to people, but pay no mind to the people who actually pre-ordered them. So if somebody walks in off the street, they could theoretically sell the pre-order copy.
I will
say, in retro, like after the fact, Kayla was off and went over there the next day, and they were like, oh yeah, it's right here. So I don't know if the guy literally didn't know what he was talking about, or if they didn't have my copy at that point, they got it the next day. I don't know.
The thing is the whole idea of pre-orders is that your copy is guaranteed. The whole place that it came from is there used to not be enough games at release for everybody who wanted one. That's where pre-orders came from, is you guarantee your copy right off the bat so that you don't have to wait till whatever comes up. That's just not the case. If you don't get it, you weren't going to get it. I mean, maybe you were going to get it if you pre-ordered, but still, like, I feel like the pre-ordering thing is bullshit. Plus, like, just go to another store or go in the next day. You know what I mean? Like, they get them so rapidly nowadays that, like, the most you're going to be waiting is 24 hours, you know? And really, one of the things we were really doubling down on is pre-orders for digital sales. What the fuck is the point of that? I mean, I will say occasionally I pre-order a game digitally, but it's more out of a budgeting thing. Like,
yeah,
I have the money now. It will burn a hole in my pocket before X time, and then I won't be able to afford it. So I pre-order the game now so that me, who's an irresponsible adult, does not spend the money on something else shiny before such time that it comes out. Still, like, you're not guaranteeing access to it, you know? Like, it's digital. You're going to have it. It's there, you know?
Right. So, I mean, and then, like, pre-ordering is also bizarre, too, because, like, my copy of God of War Ragnarok, it was the first time that I ever pre-ordered a game, and it wasn't at GameStop, because, you know, the last time, you know, the Tiny Tina's thing happened.
Right.
So I had actually gone and ordered it off of Amazon, and I have no idea what it was. Like, they were thinking, they literally just slapped it like right in the middle of the front porch, just like right there. There's a mailbox you could have put it in, like something, and it's just like, okay, there's like no happy medium.
I have watched drivers walk halfway down my driveway and chuck the thing I ordered.
Yeah.
And then take a picture from afar with it up against the door and then just walk out like half dressed. Like, I don't know where they get the delivery drivers. They're crazy people. All right, we got to move on.
Yeah.
William Holland, hi, exclamation point. Actually, when we were kids, games were very, very hard to compensate for how short they actually were. The target audience was kids indeed. But in my opinion, games were way harder in the 80s and 90s than they are now in general. Well, of course they were. Of course they were. That you're okay. Well, let me read the whole post, then we'll get to it. My 6-year-old played the Paw Patrol racing game, and she loved it. It's definitely a very easy Mario Kart game, but it was super fun for her. My kid actually played the superhero Paw Patrol one, and she also played the Peppa Pig game. She loved them. Mobile gaming is great for indie games. You just need to be careful and not play trash gotcha games and F2P money pit. It's hard, though. Mobile is the most poisoned with that stuff. I'm definitely not forgetting the awards. Working on it, I swear you'll get mine before the 27th. Of course, man, of course. You got time. You got to realize that I'm going to cover all this. I keep reading. A podcast that doesn't last an hour, that unsubscribe button is so tempting right now. Thanks
that used to be the target.
Right. Thanks for the show. And to Melissa. Cheers. Hashtag fingers crossed to find a way to get Zach's voice back. Yeah, fingers way crossed. Okay, I'm going to respond to things. First, the 80s and 90s, they couldn't make games as big as they can now. They couldn't even make them even remotely as close. Like, the play times of those games, if you could go from point A to point B, was like an hour, 2 hours tops. The way they got you to replay those fuckers is by making them super hard, by making it hard to get through them. And you got to remember that the 80s and 90s, there was still arcades. There wasn't like the internet and stuff. There was still arcades, coin-operated arcades. The idea behind it was you die over and over again so that you keep shoving quarters and tokens into that machine and they keep making money. If you could walk into a machine and play it start to finish on one quarter, it didn't have a return on investment. So, like, you wanted these games that were difficult, that were hard to get through, that were coin suckers, man. So, yeah, that's where that came from. Those games were 100% harder than they are now, because now the gaming industry, well, I'm not going to say they're not focused on money, but the game itself is more focused on longer content that they can show to you, that they can give to you. That's what it's kind of changed. It's not about like, let's make this a challenge that they have to overcome. It's more about, let's show you this thing and just keep showing you stuff from this thing. It's definitely made that transition to a more artistic kind of form, in my opinion. I'm going to go over everything, Neil, and then I'll give you a chance. Sorry, I don't want to forget everything. Paw Patrol, superhero game, Peppa Pig, I already mentioned that. The mobile game, I already mentioned that. I am an eternal nag, Will. That's one thing you're going to understand about me if you work any projects with me, and let's face it, this is kind of working a project with me. I will constantly, every 2 days, be like, hey, do you got that thing for me yet? I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset at you. I'm just 41 years old, and I've worked with a lot of people, and I know that for the majority of people, no offense to them, if I don't say something constantly, I'm not going to get the thing back. So I just constantly say the thing. Don't take offense to it. I don't think you're doing anything wrong. It's just, I nag people. That's what I do. I mean, it's literally how I run this channel. You can ask Phil Billy, you can ask Neil, you can ask anybody I work with. It's just like, I nag, and that's why Old Man Gaming exists. So, like,
something is wrong if he doesn't have to mention something to me about getting him X, Y, or Z
right.
Scheduling a thing.
Right. If it's not once every 2 days, like, hey, buddy, you do that thing? And, like, what always happens is the conversation is, hey, buddy, did you do that thing? And then the other person's like, so sorry I didn't, yada, 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 yada. And then me be like, not upset, just got to remind you.
It was really bad in the early days. when we had to do like Let's Plays and do the individual audio recording, because you talked about it last week anyways. The individual audio recordings of things like I would have myself on the chair or couch playing and just have my phone recording, and I'm like laying down with my phone on my chest, like right up against my chin to try to get the audio.
Well, and it was so much harder to edit. Like, I was doing all the edit. It's so much harder to edit. So, like, once they get it to me, I would have, like, nowadays it's easy. I record everything on my end. I go into a program. I do a quick cut, couple of cuts, stick in some theme song, come up with a title, it's done. Back in the old days, I had to get audio from Neil. I had to get audio from me. Sometimes I had to get a video from Neil. On the Hut was the worst because Phil had to give me his video. I had to get my video. Then I had to sync them up so that I could cut them so that everything was happening sequentially, even though I was switching back and forth between the two of them. And I still had to sync that audio up. I'm very proud of that show because it was so goddamn hard to do. But yeah, it was hell to edit. So yeah, so like it would be like we'd record and then be like, I'm gonna get you that thing, and then we'd just sit in a Dropbox. Like
Dropbox was the worst.
Oh, Dropbox is the worst. It still is.
Finding the right place, making sure it actually uploads, the file limitations and the size.
Oh yeah. It was every once in a while we still have to do it nowadays, and it's like, oh god damn it. Okay. Yeah, so Nag, sorry, Melissa actually said thank you to that. I did not record her responses as I usually do. She is still pretty sick, so I just let her relax on that. Moving on to Jason. The Expendables, the next generation.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I feel like we're like 10 years away from being able to like round up the new group of people. Like we'll get Keanu Reeves in there, Rock,
Cena. Channing Tatum's a good one. Batista, and probably get if you can get him to be okay with Rock, get Vin in there. Jason Statham, that's another one. I guess he was in the originals, weren't he? He could be the bridge. He could be the bridge for the next generation. Moving on, Jason was very chatty, always welcome. Netflix needs to make the Silent Hill games. Netflix needs to make the Silent Hill games and make a high school AU series, because that would make about as much sense as most of what I see on Netflix these days. That's fair. I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, Netflix is going wild. Though they do have that Sonic animated series coming out here.
Sonic Prime?
Yeah, that may be interesting. Maybe
I got Sonic on the brain because Sonic Frontiers is so good, so I might check it out with Stella if she's into it. Jason then continued, I got a need for speed. Yes, I got a need for speed, but not a Need for Speed game. I definitely don't have a need for that. You two should totally do a podcast. I know. Me and Melissa have great chemistry. It's one of the reasons I drag her to do Prelude all the time. I wish that show was more popular because she is like she's so much fun to get back to have a back and forth with.
That's the thing is like whenever I have to jump in and fill in with Kayla, like if you need time off, I love those episodes because like Kayla and I's like what you end up hearing is our natural state.
Yeah. Same here. When you see Melissa on there, it's like this is what my life is like. Just I'm making her play a game. Yeah. Okay, so my nephew wants the Sonic game, but it's too expensive. I heard that. I've never been into Sonic. Oh, that's fair. It's not for everybody. I had a Game Boy with magnifier and light and took it to Boy Scout camp to play Super Mario Land against the rules. Rule breaker. He then continued, I'm tired of hearing about Starfield. Aren't we all? I'm definitely tired of hearing about it. Unfortunately, though, we have a gaming channel, and Starfield is a huge story, so we have to keep fucking talking about it. It's one of the things that's so grating about doing this show is that I have to keep talking about the things I don't want to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
I'd love to just come in here and talk about professional wrestling for an episode or The Bachelorette for an episode, but I can't. It's a gaming show on a gaming channel, so we got to keep fucking talking about Starfield, Cyberpunk, and every other goddamn mess out there.
I was going to say, we originally, we tried to establish like a house rule at one point.
Did we?
Yeah, with Cyberpunk. Like,
Yeah.
we got to a point, I remember one
Can't do
time...
Can't do it anymore.
I literally remember one time, like, we were trying to figure out what to talk about, and it was like another layer of like the bullshit and shenanigans with Cyberpunk, and it was like 5 or 6 times in the course of like 2 months. And I remember you like being so sincere and genuine, just like, please, this has to be the last time we have to.
I think it was that December, like right after it released. It was just every week it was another story about them, and it was like I can't do this anymore. I'm so upset. I can't do it anymore.
I remember how I am. That's kind of how I am with like the Activision Blizzard stuff now. Like, there's been things that have happened with it, but it's just like I just cannot with that anymore.
It's hard. It's hard to keep talking about.
Yeah. It's really rough. But that's the thing. Is like it's a part of what the channel is, and by not talking about it, you're inherently like ignoring a whole big major sect of it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, it's also buzzwords. We're trying to get views. I mean, as much as we hate to say it, we're trying to get views. We're trying to be part of the system in some small way. And to do that, we have to talk about the thing, you know? I wish we didn't, but we do. Continuing, he says, of course I wasn't listening. Blood points. Fair enough. And then Danny commented, Melissa with a messy bun looks cute. Me with a messy bun looks like a hobo. When I told that to Melissa, she literally did this. Because she definitely does not believe you. I thought she looked cute, though. So that's fan traction, and that was way too long, especially given what we're going to talk about. So I think we should wrap this up unless you've got anything to add.
No.
Good. Keely's Fuckfest, here we go.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of year again. The Game Awards have announced their nominations, and I mean, surprising no one, I have a problem. I have a problem. I have many problems. So we're gonna get into this. Let's talk right off the bat. Game of the Year. Let's talk about them. So here were the 6 games nominated for Game of the Year: A Plague Tale: Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War: Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Those are the 3 games they decided to announce for Game of the Year. All right, so I know I'm getting right into this. I know we're not even like lubing up for first, but I have some problems here. I will say there's a couple of games that definitely deserve to be on here. I think Elden Ring, I've never even played it. It deserves to be on here, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
God of War Ragnarok, I mean, everybody loves it, so it probably deserves to be on here. My big problem with God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West, and like I said, I'm not going to make an argument that they shouldn't be in this conversation. But at the same time, they're more of the last game. That's what they are. They're more of the last game. So they're not innovating. They're not bringing anything new to the table other than the storyline. And I know that kind of bothers me a little bit, you know, that they're constantly like lauded over it. Like, but it's fine. They're in here. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I never played it. I don't know how good it is. I can't really speak to it. I will say this, though. There was a way better Nintendo game out there that's been snubbed by this. And there was a way better game that was snubbed by this. And Stray does not belong on here. There's no reason Stray should be on here. Stray is on here because the world has a weird cat fetish right now, and it's fucking insane. Yeah, that game was pretty. It was like 4 fucking hours long. It does not belong on here in any way, shape, or form. Definitely not. Put it in any game. Put it in something else. It does not belong in the nominations for the highest prize of gaming.
I think what they ended up doing, that like they do every year. If you look back at all the past nominations, they always have like an indie darling.
Okay.
In there.
Okay.
So I think
we're about to talk about the one that should be in there instead of Stray. Then you want to talk about indie darling?
I already know what you're gonna say, so go ahead.
Where the fuck is Sifu? It is easily the greatest fucking fighting game that has ever been made, and not fighting like. Martial arts based game. It defines its own genre. It is absolutely 100% great. And this isn't just me being crazy. The world thought so. Everybody, hands down, says that game was a success. It was an awesome game. I don't hear anybody talking about Stray anymore. But yet Stray's on here and Sifu isn't, and that's bullshit. Sifu should be on this list. It should be in there. Should it win? Maybe not against Elden Ring. I kind of understand that, but there's no reason it should not be on this list. No reason.
Well, you know what Sifu is missing that Stray has? It's a
fucking
dedicated
cats.
meow. It's a dedicated meow button.
Yep.
Is what it is.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, this list here, like I'm already gonna call this before we even like get too far into it. I already told Kayla when we watched this video of the announcement of like all of these things that Elden Ring is gonna sweep. There's no way. I see in no realm.
I don't think so.
That Elden Ring doesn't sweep.
I don't think so. I think it should, and it's not gonna.
Those FromSoft fans are crazy when those games come out.
It's gonna be God of War Ragnarok, man. There's no question in my mind that they're gonna give it to them because Jeff Keighley loves big name bullshit. And Elden Ring is not as big as God of War Ragnarok right now. They're gonna give it to God of War Ragnarok, mark my words.
Yeah, I do feel like there is also this thing that happens, and this isn't an original thought that I'm having. Like I've heard this mentioned before on, I think it was the Game Informer podcast years ago, that like when we have these Game of the Year discussions, the stuff that came out earlier at the beginning of the year, everybody tends to forget about, and they glom on to what came out in the last 2 to 3 months. So
and that's going to bring me to my next point. I'm sorry, continue. I don't want to.
I was going to say that's the only thing that I can really think of that's really a knock against Elden Ring for being like winning Game of the Year. I don't know, Xenoblade is just, it's a very niche, very dedicated fan base for that one there. Plague Tale Requiem.
I'm going to say it. Kirby should be there instead of Xenoblade 2. And Kirby was released early. It was released, I think, late February, early March. It is absolutely... It's absolutely its own genre-defining game as well. Like, it defines Kirby games. It is a great game. I love that game. And it's a Kirby game. I did not expect to love a Kirby game as much as that, but I love that game. That should 100% be on this list instead of Xenoblade. If it was me, I don't know Plague Tale, okay? I know a lot of people who rant about it. Fans of the show rant about it. So I'm not going to speak ill of it. Elden Ring should win everything. It should, because it's a new IP. It does something different. It makes that FromSoft thing in an open world. It's quality, like God of War and Horizon Forbidden West, quality, awesome games doing the exact same thing their predecessors did. I think that should, whereas Elden Ring isn't. Stray should not be on this list, Sifu should, and Xenoblade Chronicles should not be on this list, and Kirby should. And look, I'm not saying they should win, but they should be on this list. They should be in that conversation. That's how good those games were. But it's just like you said, we're looking at the stuff that came out in the last 6 months. We're not looking at the stuff from early this year, and that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit.
Anything, too, that releases in December, like even for our Game Awards that we do, like we always forget that December month technically counts for the next year's Game Awards because, like, again, like they cut off just about the time that we cut off for ours. So we're I guess in lockstep with the Game Awards.
I actually want to point out here, we cut off about the same time, but last year's nominations we actually included Cyberpunk. Yeah, and Cyberpunk came out in December.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's 2 years old.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it was a game in December that we included. We did not exclude it because it was right at the cutoff.
Right. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, that's the thing is like, with last year's nominations, it fell within the very beginning time frame of last year. Yeah, I mean, but that's not necessarily.
We still went back and looked at it. We actually do that.
Right.
As I believe the Horrible Game Awards, and one of the reasons that I think, to say that we're better, but we look at things that have been updated. I mean, you look at our stuff, we've had nominations of State of Decay 2 almost consistently since we started doing this in like either Best Single Player or Best Experience. And that game's 4 years old, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it's because we allow that in ours that we allowed to look at it. I do want to touch base real quick on something else about this. There has been kind of this weird kind of uproar that Sonic Frontiers was not nominated for Game of the Year award. Have you played it? You had said you might pick up a copy. I didn't know if you'd gone around.
You know what? And I actually, after I'd messaged you after you sent me a copy of the video of the review, that I was really thinking about picking it up. I know for a fact it would be a waste of time for me to pick it up because all of my very limited spare free time is in God of War Ragnarok.
And that's fine. I was just asking before I got into this.
I thought about maybe still pulling the trigger on Black Friday just because it's going to be...
You should. But if you're a Sonic fan, I'm going to tell you why you should. This is definitively the best Sonic game ever made, in my opinion. I think that without a doubt, it blows away. It at least is the best 3D Sonic ever made. And I am including Adventure and Adventure 2 in there. And I love those games. But this is better than that. I actually like this better than most of the 2D Sonics. # sorry not sorry. That being said, I still don't think it's at a level that would say Game of the Year. It's still a Sonic game in a lot of ways. There's still a lot of like things, especially late game, that I'm noticing. Not glitches, just like very annoying control issues that you're like, I can't grind that rail fast enough. You know, like stuff like that. It's very frustrating. I don't necessarily think this is without a doubt the best Sonic game ever made, but I don't necessarily think just because it's the best Sonic game ever made doesn't necessarily propel it into that Game of the Year sort of situation. And when I was nominated, I actually nominating it. Well, for our awards, I actually nominated in a few places. Experience of the Year was not one of them, you know? It just wasn't... It's not a 10 out of 10 for me. And as much as I rail against IGN, and I actually think they got many things wrong about Sonic Frontiers, I think their overall score is probably pretty good. 7 out of 10. Feels kind of right to me. I might give it like an 8. But, like... It's not at that Game of the Year nor. So I don't think that that's a snub, really. I just don't. I don't think it's at that level. I think it's a great game. It's absolutely a great game. It restores Sonic fans' faith in the series again. I'm with everybody on that. But just because we are so happy that we have a game that's good finally, it doesn't necessarily mean that it should be in the conversation with Elden Ring. You know? So, like...
baby's first steps, not necessarily something that needs to make the Christmas card at the end of the year.
Sonic fans, chill out, man. I get it. We're really excited. It's good finally, but let's chill. Let's chill on that. All right, so let's move on then. Unless you got anything to add to those.
No, yeah, because at this point here, we're just getting into the other things. We'll probably have a little bit, and then like there's half of it is like, why the fuck is this even something that's being mentioned?
Right, I agree. And one of the things that I do really want to touch on is their categories have no strict boundaries. And that's something that really bothers me. We'll talk about it. Best game direction: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, and Stray. Stray, probably a great place to put that. Not best game of the year, just not. Best narrative: Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality. That's all fine with me. Not gonna have a problem with that. If you have problems with it, man, just shout it out because I want to get through some of them.
I honestly, the only thing that I wanted to base with on the narrative one.
Sure, hit me.
The Elden Ring one, like, to my knowledge, I mean, I've not played the game, but I think all of the narrative is all passive. So it's like all in like notes and books that you find and like in the environment, which that's not necessarily, I'm not saying that that's not a way to tell story, but all of these other ones are very story heavy, like in your face, like a movie, and then there's that one there.
Well, and I gotta say, from what you told me about Horizon Forbidden West, even though it tells the narrative, I don't necessarily think that narrative is very good. So, like,
it got off the rails, like, and
that's what I'm saying, like,
third of the game.
That's when you put it in like a direction category, but it's here in best narrative. Yeah. So, like, I kind of feel like there could have been better things here, without a doubt. Yeah. All right, best art direction. Who gives a shit? Moving on. Scorn got a nomination there. Best score and music. We had Plague Tale. We had Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Metal Hellslinger, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I have a problem with this category, but I
have a problem with one of the nominations in the category.
All right, hit me, because I got a couple of problems here.
Metal Hellslinger should not count because half of that game is literally just licensed music.
Oh, we got into a conversation about this. I think either last year or the year before we got into an argument about
this. When it first got announced.
When it was Guardians of the Galaxy had a bunch of licensed music, and you and I had
the same exact shit.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
That is fair.
At all.
It's 100% fair because they have to put it together correctly and they have to put it in the right order. The entire game is based on the music for that. How is that not fair? I mean, I get what you're saying. Nobody wrote the music for
anything.
This.
Yeah,
wrote
and
the
that's
music
the
for
thing.
this. But so would you say that they need a whole nother category for because this is best score of music. On ours, we have best soundtrack, which covers everything.
I think that very well could be under best audio design because
why do we have two? We have best audio design?
That's the next one down. So
you know what bothers me too? We've got so many fucking awards for this shit. They're not even going to show half of them.
Oh yeah, they're literally just going to put this. Like, we're just going to get into this part now because it's going to come up at some point or another.
I know I'm all over the place, but let's do it.
Make no mistake, this is not an awards show.
No!
This is not an awards show. They've chopped up E3. This is just the back half of the year, the back end of the E3 announcements for what we're going to see the whole year. Yeah. We all know what happens. Keeley gets up there, yucking it up, gives awards to all of his friends. We get to hear that word premiere over and over and over again. For it's going to be a 3 or 4 hour awards show because they've put so many different categories of nominations and things for this. Like how they break some of this down, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you have a most anticipated category, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I hate that.
An award for a game that doesn't exist because people want it. That right there is like the perfect example of what these games are. It's just a giant commercial.
I am so bothered by the way they do this because this detracts. I mean, and you know, we've been calling this Keeley's Fuckfest forever. The reason I call it Keeley's Fuckfest is this, and I think we've talked about this possibly every year other than the first year that we talked about it, and that is, look, gaming needs to be accepted as art. If it is not accepted as art, we're never going to get good regulation in it. We're never going to get people respecting it. It's just going to be this big money drive thing where everybody treats everybody like shit. Like, until it's respected as art and not just a toy, the gaming industry is fucked in a lot of ways. That being said, to be respected as art, you need stuff that bring you up to that artistic level. One of those things is a fucking award show that isn't a giant goddamn commercial for children. Like, that is what this is. You hit the nail on the fucking head. He's just going to stand there and read a bunch of them off and then move on. Why do the developers even show up to these shows at this point? There's not even like... you know what bothers me too is you have like the Oscars and shit like that. They at least have acceptance speech for the awards, even though they have all that shit in between, you know? Mm-hmm. There has to be, like, and every year he does this, it gets less and less about the awards and more about just shoveling fucking trailers down our mouth, and that makes it just a big commercial, just like you said, and it takes away anybody who you were trying to convince video games is art and you were trying to use that as an example. They'd laugh you out of the fucking building. That's the kind of shit that bothers me. So yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you.
And that's the thing too, is like one of the main news stories that came out from the Game Awards, like after the announcement, Jeff Keighley saying, "Oh, there's going to be so many. There's going to be like over like 50 announcements at the Game Awards this year." It's like That's the thing. It's like they're not even shy about it. They just call it something else. Right.
That's all it is. And I don't want announcements anymore. I want an award show for the thing that I love, you know, to get that due. I want these people to get their due. They don't even get their due, you know. They don't even get to go up on stage. They don't even get to wave at anybody. It's like a fucking graphic that appears next to that asshole's head. I tell you, man, that guy is one of the guys that I would just, oh man, I'd smack him in the face if I ever met him. Oh, him and Kojima, just put him on a fucking raft and put him out in the ocean somewhere.
They're best friends too.
I know. So. It makes perfect sense. The thing is yeah, like it's just so much gobbledygook. Back to the score, best audio, whatever. I don't necessarily agree with you on that. I think that, like, because somebody did nominate Hellsinger for ours, and it's definitely going to be included, and it could definitely win. I don't think that there is... I think that you either need to separate the two categories wholly and have, like, audio design and, like, that, and then original score separate, or you put them together as soundtrack and everybody competes. Because Metal Hellsinger, the entire game is that soundtrack. And even though it is licensed music, that game doesn't work without it. So, like, the fact that they put it together in a way that makes the game work. I mean, it's the same with Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy does not work without the licensed music. It does not work without the licensed music being in the places that licensed music is in. That kind of warrants it being in there, I think. Personally, my big problems with this is some of these things, like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that had that good of a soundtrack. Like Elden Ring's soundtrack was that good. I don't think it was. I mean, to leave out Gen Senoway and Sonic Frontiers, this would have been a good place to nominate it. I think his soundtrack there is fucking phenomenal. You know, there's a bunch of other games. Sifu, Howie Lee does an amazing soundtrack on Sifu. Yeah, if you guys are sick of me hearing it, buckle the fuck in, because that game should be nominated everywhere. Howie Lee does a great thing. You got Midnight Fight Express, has an absolutely phenomenal soundtrack from start to finish. You know, and that's not licensed either. That's all composed by the same guy who made the fucking game in the first place. I think that, like, there are definitely better nominations here. I don't necessarily argue with the Hellsinger one, but some of these other open world ones, let's face it, open world music, it's like just like a low tone, and then you get like a boss music, and then it goes back to that kind of low exploring tone. Like, how many tracks do you really get? Like, how many tracks are there really in Skyrim? There aren't that many. That soundtrack's awesome. I love that soundtrack. But when you really think about it, it's one song. It's one song on loop, and then another song on loop when you're fighting something big. That's what it is. So, like, I feel like the ones that are, like, heavily, like, the... Yeah, I'm going to say it again. Sifu, the music builds from start to finish through a level as you fight guys to kind of reflect the amount of people you've battled and the level of tension. That, to me, is a great soundtrack. You making a cool tune while I'm walking around an open field and a cool tune while I run into a boss is not for me. You know, I think these are like give me nominations. And let's face it, Hellsinger's going to win that one. That's going to be the one that Hellsinger gets.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. That'll be the one they give it to. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I can see. I mean,
It's probably why they have a best audio design, so that they can give some other person
a chance. That's the thing. Is
another
like,
audio thing.
It's such a weird. We're like way hung up on the sound part of this, just way too much. But
we can move on. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to just one last thing with that.
Sure, go for it.
The argument that I would have made with this is the audio design, in that the game goes with the music. That's why I feel like Metal Hellsinger should have been in that category, because it's weird how they diverge these two, because the score and music is literally like music, but like audio design is just sound effects,
right.
Which is weird to me, I feel, but yeah, I don't know, that's just kind of the way that I look at it.
Well, and do we need both of those? Let's get rid of one of them. Let's cut some of these awards so that people can actually accept them, and you can still have your 50 fucking trailers, you know? All right, so moving on. Best Performance, Ashley Birch, Horizon Forbidden West, Charlotte McBurney, A Plague Tale Requiem, Christopher Judge, God of War Ragnarok, Man Engage, Immortality, and Sonny Soljic, God of War Ragnarok. I don't know that we need 2 nominations for God of War Ragnarok. I think we probably could have picked the better one and gone with that. That being said, I definitely think Ashley Birch gave a better performance in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands this year than this. I mean, Aloy is a very complex and emotional character that she brings to life very well. However, Tiny Tina has never been complex or emotional, and she brought those to light in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, even subtly. I thought that her performance in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was way harder and trickier to actually get some emotional impact out of it than Aloy, who's already primed to have that emotional impact. That's personally me. I think that she should have been nominated for Tiny Tina, not for this one, but that's just me.
I do think it is a little interesting that they went ahead and put 2 from God of War in there. I mean, I don't see why, because this is purely based off of an individual's performance, why there's no reason why you can't have more than one person.
There isn't.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of on the same page with that part of it.
I feel like, though, there were plenty of good performances this year that we could have gotten somebody else in there other than just those 2, you know?
I'm really surprised, actually, that they didn't put somebody from The Last of Us, the part 1, the remake of the first Last of Us game. Honestly, the fact that was like far and away just like regarded as such a great masterpiece, and this, that, and the other. Like, I don't know why they didn't do that. Because I believe they re-recorded lines too. So I mean, technically, they redid it. I
probably would have had some problem with it if we gave somebody an award for a game that they had already done, but they did a second time. Like, I don't necessarily think
I guess
that they
that's
should
true
be in there
too.
for that. Like, regardless of your feelings on Last of Us, those games are not for me. But whatever your feelings are on it I don't know that I would have been okay with that. But I kind of see where you're coming from. I still think there are some other performances that we could have recognized here that we maybe didn't. And again, I think Ashley Birch's Tiny Tina was stronger than her Aloy. Well, not stronger. Like, they're both great characters. You know, I don't want to put them up against each other. What I'm saying is it's trickier to make Tiny Tina seem like a three-dimensional character than it is Alloy, who is written like a three-dimensional character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely
see what I'm saying there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with it. Though I would definitely 100% say that Ashley Birch did do a fantastic job.
She always does a fantastic job. When the fuck has she ever had a bad role, in my opinion? So yeah, I just, like, if I'm comparing the two roles and I'm only giving her an award for one of them, I'd probably give it to Tiny Tina, but it is what it is. Games for Impact: A Memoir Blue, As Dusk Falls, Citizen Sleeper, Endling, Extinction is Forever, Hindsight, I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. I have not played any of these games.
I literally have only heard of one of them.
I've heard of a few of them. I've heard of the I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, and Citizen Sleeper I almost played, but never got around to. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with him. I can't think of anything that, like, had a super big impact that needs to be on here necessarily. Best ongoing game: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, great. I think that's a good category. It's one of my most appreciated categories because it's an ongoing one, but at the same time, when hasn't Destiny 2 and Apex Legends been on this list, you know?
Right.
Same with Genshin. Genshin's been on there every time, too.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Fortnite. And Fortnite's won almost every goddamn time. All right. Moving on. Best Indie: Call to the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Finally, Stray, and Tunic. You know, I'm also going to say it, man. I don't look at Sifu as an indie game. I know by the definition it's indie, but Slowcap was paid a lot of money to make Sifu an exclusive game for PlayStation and Epic. So, like, I kind of think of it as like a second or third party exclusive. Like, to me, that's at least AA, maybe AAA. I know indie can be AAA or whatever.
Right.
Sifu should have been higher on the list, guys. It's going to come up a lot. It shouldn't just be in this indie category. And the other category it's in, it shouldn't even be in, which we'll talk about when we get there. Best debut indie: Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, Vampire Survivors. Can I ask a fucking question?
I already know what you're going to ask.
What's the difference between this?
Hey.
What's the difference between these two fucking categories? You can only nominate best indie games from this year, and you can only nominate best debut indie games from this year. What is the difference between these two fucking categories, other than they want to be able to nominate more games? But if that's the truth, why do you have three of the 5 in both categories? It's fucking mind-boggling to me.
That's the weird part to me. That, you know, like, especially in your case, I'm surprised you didn't lead with, why is Sifu in the best indie, but not best debut indie?
Yeah.
Is it because they've made another game before, or is it...
Right. What is that? What is that? Somebody needs to explain that fucking category to me, because Stray is produced by Annapurna. Annapurna's made a lot of fucking games. So, like, what does that mean? Best community support: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, No Man's Sky. Okay, gonna say something here. Okay, so best community support. That means that the developers support the community, right? Like, that's how you read that, right?
Yeah.
Fortnite does not support their community. They're shitheads that take a lot of money out of you. They're money-grubbing assholes from Epic, and they always will be. That should not be on this list. Number 2, there are tons of community support games, very community support-friendly games. It should be on here, other than Apex Legends, other than fucking Destiny 2. Like, games that, like, really support the community. Like, Warframe should be on there. Fucking State of Decay 2 should be on there. They're super community. All of their updates come from the community. Like I don't know. There's way better stuff that should be on there than fucking Fortnite. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, 100% on that. I mean, I don't know. It's like a nebulous sort of thing, anyways. Like, what is community support necessarily mean?
Right.
Is it literally just like, oh, they listen to the community feedback? Is it something like people who just like are very active within the communities of the games?
Right.
Like, that's a thing.
Right. What is it? Moving on, we got Best Mobile, which this really pisses me off too. Apex Legends Mobile. Diablo Immortal. Are you serious that this is on this list? The most controversy around it, the fact that it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the end game in that's on Best Mobile Game. Genshin Impact, Marvel Snap, which should win. It is a really good mobile game. And then Tower of Fantasy. How is Diablo Immortals on this list? And how much money did Activision pay Jeff Keighley to put it on this list? Because there's no reason that game should be on this list. It should be disqualified just based on the controversy around it. You know?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Best VR AR. Who cares? It's not big enough, guys. I'm sorry, it just isn't. I'm gonna scroll right past it. Best action. Bayonetta 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. I don't really have a problem with this category, honestly. I think that all of these make sense to me. I mean, I could think of other action games too, but...
As long as it's not like the one year, what was it, like best... It was like best strategy... sim game,
strategy/sim game, and it was a bunch of strategy games and then Microsoft Flight Simulator. There is a nomination on here like this. It's with Sifu. We'll talk about it. It's ridiculous, but we'll get to it. Best action/adventure. Again, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? Do we need two categories for this? Do we need a best action and best action adventure? Like, do we need that?
Yeah, that's very strange.
A Plague Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic. Best role-playing game. Elden Ring, Live a Live, Pokemon Legends Arceus, which that one was actually early year, Triangle Strategy, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Okay, I guess. Best fighting. Here it is, guys. This one makes no fucking sense. We're going to get to it. DNF Duel. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. King of Fighters 15. Multiverses. Sifu. One of these things does not belong. I'm going to say it right now. Sifu is not a fighting game. Yeah, it's got fighting in it, but it's not a fighting game. Fighting games are one-on-one. They're like Tekken, like Street Fighter, and there is a whole genre for it that you can pick from. There are plenty of fighting games that could be there instead of Sifu. Sifu should not be in this one, and I love Sifu. I've argued for it to be in just about every category but this one. It should not be there. And if you want to put it in something, make a best beat-em-up game or something like that. You can't do this. You can't have four clear fighting games and then Sifu, which is a brawler, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that is very bizarre.
It's bizarre. Like, they're so cumbersome on categories. They have all these fucking categories. Then they have a couple where they just jam them together, like fighting and then best sim/strategy. You got fucking 20 other categories. You can't make one extra one for strategy and sim game to be different. Like, it's ridiculous. And those two things are in no way, shape, or form like each other. You can't even justify them being in the same category together. Best Family. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Finally. Lego Star Wars. The Skywalker Saga. Mario plus Rabbids. Spark of Hope. Nintendo Switch Sports. And Splatoon 3. I have some problems with that category, honestly. I don't think of Mario plus Rabbids or Splatoon 3 as family games, man. You can't play that with your family. You can't sit down and play it with your family. Like there's no local co-op on Splatoon 3. There's no local co-op on Mario Rabbids. They're single player games. Why the fuck are they on best family games? I don't agree with this. You can't even play co-op. At least Kirby, you can play co-op. You can have a second person in there. So, like, why the fuck are those in there? I mean, it's not as egregious as last year when they had It Takes Two in best family game. And it was like a game about a brutal divorce. But, like, these aren't even, like, cooperative games. So what's best family about it? Like, I don't know. Best Sims/strategy game. Doom Spice Wars. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Total War Warhammer 3. 2 Point Campus Victoria 3. I love that there's no, like they don't want to nominate Flight Simulator, so it's not on here. Like there's no egregious ones on here. It's just all like whatever.
Yeah, it's all has some. I don't know. It's a weird hodgepodge group. Some of it's weird. Like turn-based. Some of it's just like
some of it's 4X. I think that like what bothers me too is again you have all these categories. You have duplicate categories of best indie game, best debut indie game, best action adventure. But then you like jam sim and strategy together. You jam all games with fighting into fighting. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me the way they do this shit.
Yeah, it's almost like they're padding. Like,
yeah. But padding what? You're not going to see any of these fucking awards. Half of them are going to happen on the pre-show. Then they're just going to be next to his fucking head. It's like, yeah, I get that. I would be like, yeah, this is padding. But padding for fucking what? It's a fucking commercial. And he'll come back and like rush through them as fast as he can to get to the next fucking Cyberpunk fucking announcement. It's ridiculous.
And their special musical guests, of course. Don't forget those.
Oh, yeah. Great. Orchestral Zelda. That's what I showed up for. Best multiplayer. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Multiverses. Overwatch 2. Are you kidding me? Splatoon 3. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Shredder's Revenge. So, Overwatch 2... made you, give them your fucking phone number to sign up.
Phone number. And if you don't have a smartphone, you're not allowed to play the game.
There was...
poor people can't play this game.
Tons of data attacks on it to the point where you couldn't get into a server. And May, one of the original characters, is still locked behind a bug. You cannot play her because she's bugged out. And that's on this fucking list? Like, that's what rages me. Like, how much did you receive to put Overwatch 2 on there? Because you cannot tell me that the whole thing about, it's a council of all these, like, these people all over the place and everything. You can't tell me that every fucking news outlet out there was like, put Overwatch 2 on there. That's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous that that's on there. And if that wins, it's a fucking travesty. Seriously, we should riot.
Mm-hmm.
Most anticipated game.
This is the biggest bullshit category.
Okay, hold on. I don't necessarily agree that it's the biggest bullshit category. I got a hot take for you.
Okay.
I think that personally, they represent the category incorrectly. And I hate this part of gaming. Don't get me wrong. I hate this part. I hate overhype. I hate it to death. But I had a huge conversation with Melissa about this. She actually changed my opinion on this category. 50% of game sales is the lead up. It's the hype. The advertising teams, the marketing teams, all of those people making the game hype. Those people should be recognized. Like, they put hard effort and work into this, and as much as I hate this part of gaming, they're doing their own thing on this, and Here's the thing though. I think it should be the like best marketing team or best. You know what I mean?
Marketing.
Like
campaign.
I think. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If
like,
they were honest.
Right.
Just straight up and down. Just be honest about it, and just slap that with a rubber stamp.
Yes.
Of what this, this whole show basically is.
That's my only problem with it. Is it's like it's almost like they're hiding what it is in a way, while not hiding it. But at the same time, like, it sucks that this is the way it is, but it is this way, and these people are working very hard to get you very hyped for these games that aren't out. The problem is that we're not awarding those people. We're awarding a game that hasn't come out yet. You know what I mean? And that's the problem. It should be best advertising campaign, and it should recognize the team behind each one of these games. Not the game itself, but the team behind these games. The campaign for Final Fantasy 16. The campaign for Hogwarts Legacy. That's how we should be showing this. So I kind of agree with her on that. On the fact that I think this should be a category. It's just the way they present it. It's like you're giving an award to a game that hasn't even come out yet so that they can slap that fucking Game Award thing on the box before it's even released.
Yeah, if they changed the name of it, changed the name of it and called it like best marketing or like it was something else. Like, I mean, if you wanna get down to like objectively like what it is, most anticipated, it's literally like which of these games do people want more? Fine, go ahead and give yourself a fucking award for that.
Right.
But that is literally everything that is wrong with this. That's the problem.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
The problem with everything.
No, the award isn't. The problem goes way deeper.
Yeah.
The problem goes way deeper, okay? But, like, hear me out, man. If there's a bunch of hitmen, one of them's the best. It's not good. It's not good that he's killing people, but he's really good at it. Like,
no, really.
And somebody's got to say, hey, man, you're pretty good at killing people. You know, like, I think that, like, but we're not showing this the way. The other thing that bothers me about this is some of the things that are on the list are not good marketing-wise. Starfield's on here. Starfield got delayed last minute from November. It's on record as Todd Howard saying it's going to be Skyrim in space, while Phil Spencer says it's definitely not going to be Skyrim in space. The ad lead-ups to it have been terrible. It's been all over the fucking place. So how is that a good advertisement campaign? And I will say, though, at least Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom finally has a name this time when it's nominated.
Well,
instead
thanks
of
for that.
Untitled Zelda game.
The Breath of the Wild sequel.
And then I think we could just skip from here on out because we got a Best Content Creator. Don't really care about that until we're nominated. Best Adaptation. We're never going to get nominated because I talk so much shit. Well, we talk so much shit about Keeley. Best Adaptation. That's the movie stuff. Movies or shows. Innovation and Accessibility, Best Esports Game, Best Esports Athlete, Best Esports Team, Best Esports Coach. Why do we have all these esports things too? Oh, man. Okay. All right, so that's it. That's all of the awards that we care to talk about. It's a real fuckfest. We've talked too long. Unless you have any final thoughts, we should go to odds and ends.
No, I don't, because I was about to open a can of worms that would end up keeping us here for a while.
Will is definitely getting his hour and a half show this time. We're at an hour and 10, and we haven't even touched odds and ends yet. Keely's Fuckfest always gets us in a special mood.
Keely's Fuckfest, man. Every single year, it's so weird too, because like, as much shit as we talk about Keely's Fuckfests, I always get excited to watch them. Maybe I'm part of the problem. I don't know.
Hey, look, we are content creators for gaming. Like, watching them is part of our job, unfortunately, as much as we hate them. That's one of the things I hate about this. It's the same reason us talking about Starfield again. That's what we have to do. This is a podcast about gaming. We have to cover gaming, whether we like it or not. So it's not that we're part of the problem. It's a problem, and we have to talk about it. I think that again, as long as the Game Awards stays like this, an overbloated fuckfest that is all about the trailers and has nothing to do with the awards, we will not. It will be another black mark against gaming as a whole. It will keep us from getting that respect we deserve as a artistic and creative community. And we're going to continue to be toys and scoffed at and laughed at by people. And and Jeff Keighley, it's your fucking fault. It's your fault. And I know there's people out there who'd be like, would Zach say this to his face? I would 100% Jose Ferris this. I would say it to his fucking face 1,000 times over. I'm going to say this right now. I only have 342 viewers. Jeff Keighley, please come on my show so that I can tell you your fuckface to your face, because you are part of the problem in gaming. You're a commercialistic shithead who has taken a great idea and turned it into a fucking parade of announcement trailers. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. Have fun sucking Kojima's dick. All right, let's move on now.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our final segment, Odds and Ends. We collect smaller news stories that don't necessarily deserve a full talking point. We just want to tell you guys about them, riff about them, whatever. I got 4, Neil got 4. You want to start us off?
Yeah, so this one's going to be pretty short and sweet. AS Rock, the computer component manufacturer, is launching a Sonic the Hedgehog themed motherboard.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. It actually looks kind of cool. It's kind of funny. One of the initial things that I thought about doing with my PC build when I did it, I was going to do one of two ways. I was either going to do something just completely massive and over the top, or I was going to do something that was very small and compact, that was like an all-white situation. This would have worked perfectly for that.
That's cool. I'm into Sonic right now. Not gonna lie, like me some Sonic right now.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the Gundam stuff that they released for the PC component, that line, it's basically the same sort of
similar.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna start with my shitty ones first because I want to end on a high note. Yuji Naka, one of the creators of Sonic the Hedgehog, has been arrested for insider trading in Japan.
I remember seeing this.
He's facing like something crazy, like 10 to 25 years in prison or something like that for insider trading.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Is he still involved in Sonic at all?
No, he did the Balan Wonderland.
That's right. That's
right. That was
and
the last thing that I know.
He hated everything that they did.
Every single minute of it. Apparently, he did not go fast enough.
All right, your turn.
So the next one. This is kind of like what I feel like is just a natural evolution of where we're going with VR. So the one of the original Oculus founders, Palmer Luckey, made a new VR headset. It's very unique in that it will literally, no exaggeration, kill you if you die in the game. Now, I read this and thought it was an Onion article. I was like, there's absolutely no way this is a real thing. Sure enough, this is something that he really made. Now, he did say it's not intended to be actually used.
Why did he make it?
I have no idea.
What are you doing?
The headset is rigged with small explosive charges.
What?
So that if you get a game over screen, it will trigger the explosives and literally blow your fucking head off. I swear to you, I thought it was a joke. and did not put it on this list the first time I saw it until I saw it show up on an actual, I think it was a Verge article. And I'm like, okay, maybe they're just talking about how it's some late April Fool's joke. Nope.
Why? Why? Why, Palmer? Why?
You know what, though? Why not? Why not?
I can think of
Why
a couple.
not just Sword Art Online it? Why not?
I'm not going to lie. If you're giving me a list of whys versus why nots, I definitely have more why nots than whys.
Yeah, that is fair.
In fact, I have 0 whys and just a fucking handful of why nots.
Like, just imagine, like, all these videos of the holiday time, everybody ends up getting like a VR headset of some sort for Christmas. Hey, throw the VR headset on Grandma, guys. Let's see what happens. Grandma's all over the wall now.
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce.
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre that anyone would decide to do this. Like, why? I can't get past why. Like, I don't know, man. The only thing I can think of is that he definitely wanted to secret murder somebody with VR, and somewhere along the line, either got caught or decided not to. Like, that's the only thing of. Like, he brought him a cookie, and he was like, "All right, I'm not gonna blow your head off with Wii Sports or whatever." All right, my next one. There will be no streaming-only console from Microsoft. They have scrapped the whole Fire Stick plug-in thing. Basically, according to Phil Spencer, it would cost too much. Cost too much technology-wise to create, so they have stopped it. This is interesting. I really thought this was the next place Microsoft was going, so to hear them scrap it kind of surprises me a little bit. Kind of seems like a big swerve from what their kind of mentality has been up until now.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw or not, but they've actually we have seen this device before.
Yeah,
it was he did the same thing in an image that he released that he did back when he secretly announced the Series S behind him on a shelf. Same sort of thing. They had a prototype version of it. It just looked like a tiny little Xbox Series S block.
Yeah.
And it was sitting on a shelf next to like a sword or something. Image. I thought it would have been cool, but I mean, honestly, think of it, depending on how much it would cost to manufacture. I mean, we're already at $300 for the Series S, which is kind of that anyways, because I don't know if it's like readily available yet or not, but weren't at some point weren't they talking about having like Project xCloud available on consoles?
Well, yeah.
I know they had mentioned that they were working on it.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be available on consoles. It's supposed to be available on phones, available wherever.
Yeah. I know it's available on the phone. I mean, I do the cloud gaming from time to time on my phone. But it's like when you think about that and the fact that they've straight up said when they were first announcing that to begin with that you can play Series X games on an Xbox One with that update, it is kind of a, well, why do it sort of situation outside of, people who want a minimalist lifestyle in New York or something like that have the infrastructure to go strictly, cloud.
Streaming, yeah. I don't know. I feel like Xbox's mentality has been put Game Pass in people's hands as much as possible, period. For people who don't want to have a console, giving them a Fire Stick that plugs into their TV and gives them Game Pass is putting Game Pass in more people's hands. This definitely seems counter. Like, I'm not necessarily saying it's not a good idea to scrap it. I'm just saying that, like, it's counter their mentality so far, which has been, we don't give a shit about the console. We just want you to be on Game Pass. And this would definitely put people more on Game Pass and that sort of thing. I'm interested on the technology aspect of it, considering the fact that your phone can stream just fine games, you know? And you got to raise their Kishi on that. So I don't understand why the technology is that much harder to have like a receiver for a TV, you know? I think that, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not a tech guy, so I don't necessarily know that it would be, but the technology is already pretty small. We're not talking about a box where you could buy digital games and download to it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what they were talking about, which was their little stick that was going to plug into the TV. And you were going to use Project xCloud to stream games to it, like a Stadia. That's what we were talking about here. That's what they scrapped. And even a Stadia didn't have a console. It was just a controller, plugged into whatever, and then you played on it. Stadia was a train wreck. I'm not saying it wasn't, but xCloud has already shown that its infrastructure for streaming is much better than Google's ever was in that area. Just by the fact that you can play fucking Project xCloud on your phone just fine, whereas you couldn't play Stadia on your fucking TV at all. I think that this is kind of a weird selection for them to scrap. This seems like an easy slam dunk for them, and I don't understand why it would have cost that much more.
I do kind of wonder if they got rattled by Stadia shutting down. Like, if that had something to do with their decision.
It might have. I think that, like, I think Phil Spencer's an evil genius. I gotta say, I think he would be pretty stupid to look at any similarities between Project xCloud and Google Stadia, other than the fact that they're both streaming services. The infrastructure for Xbox is far and away greater than Google, and honestly, the technology behind it is far and away greater. So I don't know. I mean, he might have. I'm not saying he didn't, but like, I would be surprised that he's like, "Oh, I don't want that to happen to us." Whereas it's like, that's not. I mean, if that was going to happen to Project xCloud, you wouldn't still have Project xCloud on people's phones. Like, it'd be gone already. You would have like ripped that service away. You know, you're not talking. Like, I don't know.
You know, actually, speaking of this, I have a bonus odds that I just remembered that I didn't write down.
Okay.
The only reason I remembered this is because we're kind of talking about it anyways. They've started doing the refunds for Google Stadia stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and did you hear what else has been happening with that?
Maybe not.
That in the most Stadia fashion possible, they're managing to fuck it up. They are refunding people to their Google accounts. And as a result of their refund, some wires got crossed. People are getting negative balances in their Google accounts.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, it was a very limited issue that eventually got resolved, but there were some people who like logged into their Google accounts and saw that their Google Play balance was negative.
Could you imagine like getting that refund and be like getting the email like, my refund came in today, cool, and then like,
surprise, more money.
What the fuck? That is interesting. All right, so mine are good from here on out. Mine are good.
Okay. Go ahead then, because I mean, I've got the two more, so just go ahead with that one because I had that other.
Oh, okay. November, you are going to have an update to your Xbox console. It's a very important update because it adds full voice chat functionality for Discord. You will no longer You will no longer have to use Xbox Live chat. You can use Discord from here on out, which is really great for people who are playing from PC to the console, because that's where it's really fucking bad. Speaking of somebody who plays with a lot of people on console while he's on PC, it's a fucking nightmare. But after the November update, full voice chat functionality will be added to the Xbox console. So
every single Halo firefight with Kayla on. Yeah. Oh my god. Because it could never, like, the Xbox chat was just trash garbage.
It's trash garbage.
It was absolute trash garbage. And I remember a couple times that we had to lean on it even when doing our Halo Let's Play.
Oh, yeah.
And even that was just rough.
Well, I play with some friends now, and it's like I feel so bad for the guy because he literally, like, every time I get on, he has to individually, like, tune everybody's volume because mine is so much higher or lower than everybody else's. It's a fucking nightmare. So Discord, voice chat, going live to all consoles.
Yay. So, God, this is just completely random and off topic. Like, my phone just started getting a ton of notifications of random things, and I gotta swipe through all of it to get back to my notes. So, some of the God of War Ragnarok collector's editions are shipping without the game. That's fun. So, initially, the collector's edition, they were supposed to ship with this whole thing, like there's a dice set and everything like that, and it was supposed to come with a steel book for the game for the digital version because that makes sense in some world, plane, or planet.
Right.
But it was supposed to come with a digital code for the game. Well, some of those editions were shipping without codes. Boy howdy.
Congratulations.
For the amount of money that you spend on those. And I just also want to point out, side note, I think this may be more of just a coincidence, but we hear all of these stories coming from PlayStation games.
Mm-hmm.
This, The Last of Us collection with the damaged boxes, the Spider-Man one that they had. It's all of these Sony games with the collector's editions. There's just something wrong with it. I don't know where, how, what is happening in the process to have this happen. I really think it's a coincidental thing. I don't think it's somebody at Sony, like, saying up on high, like, made a mistake somewhere. It's just really bizarre.
Personally, I think it's the collector's editions. I think these giant, stupid fucking collector's editions, Sony pushes them way harder than anybody else. And you get these huge, like, ridiculous collector's editions. And when you get those, it's just like, it's so easy for something to go wrong in those, Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, Xbox and Nintendo have collector's editions, but they're never as big as Sony's ridiculous ones. Like, the God of War thing is just fucking huge, and it's got all this shit added in. It's so easy to forget to put in a fucking code at that point, Like, these collector's editions are garbage. It's another thing that's just terrible for the business. Just buy the game. Just buy the game. I actually have added one as well. I feel bad about this one.
And the list keeps going.
Have you heard about Pokemon?
Oh my God. I don't know if you saw it or not. I shared a video on Facebook earlier today of all of the glitch. Hot shit. I heard it wasn't, like, the best. I was thinking some glitches here and there. Holy ass. When the one character got on the motorcycle Pokemon and got stretched out like spaghetti in an arc. Yeah. What is happening? This isn't like a Nintendo thing. This doesn't normally happen.
No. What bothers me too is IGN has pushed out from putting out a scored review on it because the advanced copies, the review embargo is up on it, and because it's out now, isn't it? I think it's out now.
Find out.
Either way, IGN refuses to give a scored review. It's still a review in progress. Still a review in progress because they're hoping for early patches. That's not how reviews work, IGN. That's not how reviews work. You can't wait on fucking patches, all right? You can re-review it in a few months, but yeah, I think that Nintendo was like, please don't give a scored review.
Out.
Yeah,
it's out.
Yeah, they have not given a scored review. It's still a review in progress at IGN, which is fucking ridiculous. What's insane, too, aside from that whole thing, is all the places are like, the ideas behind Pokemon, the new Pokemon game, are awesome. It's just, it's so fucking technically shitty that it's just buried in technical bullshit.
Yeah.
So mess.
Yeah, it's like, and it's like not small stuff too. It's like cyberpunk levels
it's
bad.
Cyberpunk level bad. And I feel bad for anybody who's a Pokemon fan too, because they've been waiting for a good revamp. Sword and Shield was a real like shitty money gotcha thing. And then this one is a train wreck. And then Temtem, which was like the indie alternative, they fucked all their players too when they came out. So they actually were a $40 game, and then when they decided to actually release, they added a paid-for battle pass, locked a bunch of stuff behind it. Even though it's still a $40 game, everybody was really pissed at it. So yeah, Pokemon fans or just gotcha game like little monster collector fans are not in a good place. All right, your last one.
All right. This one's actually like relatively big.
Okay.
And I don't know. I kind of feel like there's more to this, but Activision and NetEase, the company that's responsible for operating network connections for Activision games.
This is correct.
In China, have
I know what you're gonna say.
unable to come to a new agreement that's set to expire in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, players in China will no longer be able to play Activision Blizzard games on. Now, we here very much try to stay away from political things.
Yeah. We stray in, but yeah.
We will occasionally roll into those. Now, I don't know if you remember about 2 or 3 years ago, there's a very long and storied argument over who it is that is that if China has a claim to Taiwan.
Right.
And somebody on, I think it was some stream of a Blizzard game. I can't remember what it was.
I know what you're talking about. The winner said some shit and then got like fined for it.
And got like permabanned. The hosts who
it was a Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, yeah. The hosts who were the ones who were in charge of like commentating and everything after that individual said all that stuff, literally ducked and tried to hide under the table. And I really think it has something to do with that.
It's highly possible.
I think it has something to do with that.
It's highly possible. I do also want to point out that China has very strict censorship laws on what they do, and Activision does a lot of terrible shit right now. Aside from the whole Taiwan thing, I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibility. That definitely factored in, but Activision looks terrible in the eyes, and China doesn't like shit like that. So yeah, I think that there is a lot of things adding into this. I think that probably is definitely a factor. It's because when that happened, Blizzard immediately sided with China, if you recall correctly.
Yes.
They banned the shit out of the kid, even though he hadn't said anything necessarily negative. He had just said, like, I think it was like as simple as like Taiwan should be free. Yeah, free Taiwan or something. And they banned the shit out of him, which was ridiculous. And then they took a ton of flack for it, like to the point where like governors got pissed at him. So they unbanned the kid and they like went back on it. So you got to wonder if they went back on it, maybe China was like, oh, okay, well, fuck you, you know? So there's a lot of factors there. I can't possibly, on my 342 subscriber gaming channel, speak to geopolitical climates in China. But yeah, I don't think that that's helping. I personally also think that like the fact that Activision is like in the middle of one of the most controversial sales on the heels of one of the most controversial human like working man's rights controversies, I think that none of that is helping their case to be in China, you know? In China, the powers that be in China might have said, hey, they're not good for China anymore. Shut them down. And the way China works is the government decides everything, man. It's not like here where like a company can just like argue and argue and argue. China's like, hey, no, we don't want them anymore. NetEase has got to say, no, we don't want you anymore. It's that simple. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's that's
Okay.
Yeah. Do what?
Can I do my last one, which is really fun?
Oh! Yeah, do your last one.
So, a while back, on my odds, I got really excited about this because the original writer of John Wick had written a script for Streets of Rage and wanted to make that movie. Guess what? Lionsgate bought the movie! So they're going to make it.
Oh, really?
They're going to make it. Yes, Lionsgate bought the rights to the movie. They are going to be making a Streets of Rage movie. Please, please, please release it before I die of something. I'm 41. It could happen at any time. It could happen at any time. I'm 41, man. Listen to my voice. I've had this voice for a month. That could kill me. Please get this movie out. John Wick creator for Streets of Rage. Oh, I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven for that. So, yeah, I'm super excited. It's been greenlit at Lionsgate. So, very excited to see what they do with that movie.
Yeah, I think that's a good, because it's so weird that's come up, because you and I had a quick conversation between about the fourth John Wick movie, and just like from the world building and everything that they do, and the whole crime underworld sort of thing that is focused around the Streets of Rage games.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's a good fit. That's a good fit.
I can't wait. I think it'll be so exciting. So yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to see what comes of that. All right, I think we might be all done. Do you want to just plug this and finally go to fucking bed because it's 11:10?
Yes.
You know we've been recording for 2 fucking hours right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is going to come out to be, but Jesus.
Yeah, I definitely.
You're welcome,
go
Will.
to bed at 10:30 now.
You're welcome,
I go to
Will.
bed at 10:30 now.
Yeah.
It is currently 10 after 11. It is way past my bedtime.
Yeah. You're welcome, Will. You get the big show today. All right, we will be right back with some plugs.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. The shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, would you like to plug anything?
Well, you got me on here doing this here podcasty thing. I also play Chad Rover and a couple other randos should I need to do so.
Yes.
Playing Zach's game Upper Hand makes a good Christmas gift.
It does. Please purchase it so that I can at least have enough to cash out my account. Please buy it. Please buy the game. I do want to say yes. Unfortunately, the game will be going on a slight hiatus just because we have just posted the final episode that we had recorded this last Saturday on Axiom's channel. It will go live here on Friday. It is a Neil special one because it's the triple threat ladder match for the Super Division match, for the Super Division title. Don't sleep on it. Chad Rover, Boston Brawler, Mr. Indestructible. It is awesome. One of my favorite matches we've done so far. That being said, it will be the last match until we can get a bunch recorded and in the bank. We are by no means done doing this, just as because of my voice and I call all the matches, we just haven't been able to record. And we like to get about 4 to 8 episodes ahead before we post them. So until I can get my voice back and start getting back in the studio to do that stuff with all the players, we're just kind of in this holding pattern. We are going to keep doing it, though. You will be rewarded. But Show 4 finales in a big way with that Super Division title. It's a really great thing. Really great match. That being said, still doing the streams. You can check out the State of the K2 stream Tuesday morning. You can also check out Amateur Hour. I'm back on Tuesday nights. And then I've been trying to get in the Dead by Daylight. People really like to watch me be a killer, so I do that on Fridays. Prelude to Divorce is really good right now. Myself and Melissa get absolutely smashed and play Monster Prom, which is an awesome game that I'm going to drag Neil and Kayla over here to play with us at some point on Prelude, which will be fucking phenomenal. Other than that, you can check out everything we have to offer. We have a lot of stuff on the horizon, more streams, more shows, more Let's Plays. Just, again, my voice is kind of holding me up. I want to actually get some more live plays going as well with RPGs and stuff. But again, until I get my voice back, I really can't do anything. But stick with us, guys. We got a lot of stuff coming. You can also reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. Influence this and all of our shows from there. Always keep watching and listening. We'll keep making them. We will see you guys next week. Pause.
By the way, I forgot because we were off last week. When we went to go see Black Panther last Saturday, they showed a trailer for John Wick 4.
I saw it.
I'm sure you saw
it. The minute it came out, I watched it like 3 times.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The second he was talking about his family sitting at the high table, I'm like, oh, shit, bitch. Like, it is going down. Like, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that. Whenever that movie comes out, if we can arrange me carting my fat ass up there and we both go to see that.
Okay, I'm down.
1,000%. Because Kayla at this point, she's out. She dead dog, she's out. Like
the same with Melissa. Melissa's not the dead dog. Melissa's like, get over it. I'm sick. like just buy a new dog and get over it. That's where she is. And even Phil was like, Phil liked the first ones, but then it got so unrealistic. He's like, I don't know if I can stay with this. So I'm in if you want to go see it.
It's the world. The world has me. That whole universe
same
that they
here.
built, that has me.
It's like Vampire Masquerade without the shitty vampires, man. It's like, it's so great. It's like all that political intrigue of like a dark fantasy without any of the weird dark fantasy shit. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. I'm down, man. I'm down. I'll go watch it with you. I'll definitely go watch it with you. Melissa will be happy to be off the hook, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's get into it. Keely's Fuckfest. Going in.
Joyous.
3, 2, 1.